All right, good morning, everyone. Chestnut here with the daily chess training. We gotta hydrate, we gotta do some tactics training, and we gotta make sure our mic is on. Okay, mic's on. All right, man, these early morning streams, there's something. But how's everyone doing? How's chat doing? Hope you all are doing well. This morning we are about to get going, just making sure everything is actually up and running. All right, let's do this. All right, we do Puzzle Rush Survival Mode for all the beginners out there that are learning chess, doing some of the easier puzzles, and then we work our way up with the survival mode. Black to play. Looks like I just have a checkmate here. The king can't move, so that's always a good idea. The king could go here, but with the rook check, then the king can't go there. Again, king safety. These pawns block the king in, only one square. And we can attack that square with the king, or with the rook. And check. I'm guessing the only move is a take here. And then our pawn gets away. Back rank weakness again. So your check first, king steps up, and then this rook checks. The queen controls the square. And that looks like a checkmate. Right, check, attacking, discovered attack on the queen. It's not defended. So you push the pawn, and the king goes either here or here, and then rook check. And the pawn's going to control these two squares. Check here first, forces the king over so we can play check, and then checkmate. Okay, point to play here. Looks like we're just going to remove the defender off of this piece. Well, win defender. Again, if you're new to the stream, what we do every morning is we start out doing tactics for the first hour of the stream, and then the last part of the stream is going over game analysis. Today we'll be continuing from yesterday, doing our analysis of Stein's games from when he was younger, and then we'll wrap up after. Maybe we'll get through 2 games today. We'll see how everything's going. But here it looks like I can take again with check and win this undefended queen. All right, if I take here, I'm attacking the bishop with a pawn. If the bishop takes, we take the knight. If the bishop moves, we have check and discovery on the queen. Okay, so the rook is protecting the back rank and the queen. So the question is whether to trade the rooks and go into a king and pawn endgame. And that does win. That wins for us. So this is good. All right, well, notice that the bishop's cutting off this square from the king. So if we take here, take, and then take with the queen, we'll cover all the squares that the king could go to. And that is going to be checkmate. Okay, I didn't see the rook block, but I knew there had to be something there. Okay, that just looks like checkmate to me. All right, so yesterday we got, what, 38? We got a new high of 38 in a row on survival mode. And I believe it took the whole hour, so we'll see how this one does. So 2 pieces. Looks like a good fork here. We'll just see if there's anything else in this position, though. It doesn't look like it. Everything else looks pretty well secure. I don't see any desperate moves for black after this pawn moves. Like if the bishop takes, sacrifices itself. If the bishop sacrifices itself here, the queen can't come in and check because of this knight. If the knight jumps in here, attacking the rook, we can take it. Yeah, I don't see any desperado moves, so that looks fine. I believe queen check here works, drawing the rook up. Check, and the point is the rook and the queen can't guard the same squares. So when the rook drops back, this other rook just comes in. All right, taking the queen, trading, and then this rook's undefended. All right, taking. Now you'll have a knight here and a knight here undefended, which is going to be attacked by the queen. You're just winning a piece that way. I would like to be able to put my rook here without this rook in the way. So I see a way to do that. We could take this rook. When the queen takes, then we pin the queen to the square. So if you learned pins, usually you learn pinning a knight to the queen like this. Obviously the pawn would take, but you get the point. We'll just pretend like the bishop went here. So a lot of times we learn about these pins on pieces to pieces, but you can also pin pieces to squares, which is an important concept as well. Like you don't just have to pin pieces to pieces. Sometimes you want to pin a piece to a square, like in that case. So if you didn't know that already, then there you go. Now you know. You can pin pieces to squares. Thanks for the follow, Chess Lions. Chess_Lions. I know some people get upset if you don't say the underscore. All right. What's going on here? Hey, how's it going, Chess Lions? Thanks for being in the chat and for the follow. every morning we do these tactics for an hour, and then we do some game analysis afterwards. So again, today we'll be doing some Stein analysis of his games from when he was younger. A lot of people don't know a lot about Leonid Stein, but he was a very strong player. Played a lot of his moves very quickly. Like he'd play games in like 15, 20 minutes and play some very amazing high-level chess. So his games are definitely a lot of fun to look at. All right, so I'm guessing this is just a pin on the knight to the queen, where we just attack it with the pawn. Hello. Was that Kai or Cow? I feel like we're just doing this. What does our opponent have? Any little desperate moves here? We can always take this. Okay. This position looks complicated. I can't move this knight. Oh, chess knights, thanks. You started playing in 2008? Awesome. Yeah, I played, what was it, like 2001 is when I started playing, but I didn't play tournament chess until like 2011, so. All right, what is happening in this position? Only a couple club tournaments, yeah. Maybe it's just taking the knight on d5 with the queen. Queen takes d5. If the bishop takes our knight, we could trade queens and then take the knight, take the bishop with our king. Well, that's better than I've ever done chess playing. I've never represented anybody playing chess, so I'm never been that good. Okay, I just got into chess almost a year ago. I'm excited to compete in person when everything is good again. Yeah, absolutely, and awesome job on getting into chess. Sorry it happened where you couldn't really do things in person though. But yeah, it's a lot of fun in person, especially the chess tournaments and things like that. Yeah, it's just fun to do like a weekend tournament. It's very tiresome because you do like 2 or 3 games in one day, so it's it's brutal, but it is fun, and just the atmosphere. I mean, you're just surrounded by chess all weekend, so. Didn't have any chess people there, so I was in. Oh, okay, there you go. Hi Leela, welcome to the stream. Anyone new? We are every morning 5 a.m. Monday through Friday. I do my tactics training and stream that as I try to stay in shape when chess tournaments come back up. And after that, we do some chess game analysis. So welcome anyone to the chess stream. Yeah, I think we're just taking the knight. I think it's just a free piece. Just looks like a free piece. There we go. All right, let's go. Let's see if we can beat 38 from yesterday. 38 is the highest I've done in a row. I could take this, force the king here, and then fork the king and queen, and then we're up we'll have 2 pieces. That looks good, but is there something a little better? I don't think so. Because this check would be good if this knight wasn't here. And this knight, obviously. So, yeah, that looks right. Yeah, thanks so much for the follow. All right, what is going on in this position? Maybe it's hit the queen so we can discover something onto that king and win the knight. Yeah, I think that's the move here. I don't see anything else. Like a sacrifice here doesn't work. I don't think just the bishop takes. And yeah, we just don't have anything. But this move, oh, there's gonna, well, no, I just pinned the queen, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we don't take the queen there. We want to pin it. Let's see here. All right, if I look at forcing moves, rook b4 check is a very forcing move. The queen takes, pawn takes, rook takes, king moves, and our opponent has a lot of pieces for that queen. Our opponent will have a knight, 2 knights, and a rook. I'm sorry, 2 rooks for the queen. That's a lot of material just for our queen. So is there something more? I don't think so. I think if I'm trading off all the rooks, then there's a queen versus 2 knights, so I'm just down 2 pieces. So yeah, so maybe we are doing rook b4 check. And maybe if when the queen takes, maybe we're taking with check first. And then it's only 2 pieces and a rook for the queen. And we have a lot of pawns. Maybe that's it. These material imbalances are always challenging. Or maybe it's just rook a4. We're threatening this. But the pawn could just move up. We're giving up a rook with check as well. So that doesn't seem right. All right, yeah, my first instinct was rook b4. I think I'm going to go with that move. But thanks for everyone watching right now in chat. Appreciate all of you. If you enjoy monotone, no music, and not a great chess player, then you're in the right place. So I appreciate all of you being here. It's early morning, and I'm not a morning person. So now this was the question here. Yeah, this was the point. Do I take, or do I take here first? I'm pretty sure I have to take. If I just take the queen, I'm just losing the rook, so I might as well trade it off first. Okay, so that was it. So, appreciate all of you who put up with what we got going on here. Taking the queen, so queen takes f5. E takes f5. Okay, I'm just trading queens. That seems weird. Queen takes f5, e takes f5. I was thinking for a second knight d5 would work, but after knight takes d5, I don't have rook takes e7 check, because knight takes e7. The knight can come back. And that's an important tactic that I find comes up in quite a few games actually, which is surprising. This knight comes in here, this knight takes, and then a lot of times people will take here, thinking they just won something, but the knight can just hop back. So maybe we'll make this a little clearer with some color, because it's a yeah, it's just a common tactic that the knight can go backwards, but for some reason, especially in the French defense, when something gets captured on, yeah, like a lot of times black can take on e5. When the bishop takes on e7, the knight comes back. So black usually wins a pawn. But yeah, it's a weird tactic that comes up quite a bit. So I thought that would work, but that doesn't work. I was thinking maybe looking at a forcing move like queen 66 check, but then our queen's taken and we just don't have, yeah, we don't have anything. And if we go here right away, just queen takes. And I don't have anything. I don't have anything good here, I don't think. Yeah, this is about where I get one wrong, because the last puzzle was rated 1468. So yeah, we're right in that range now where I get them wrong because I think they're still relatively simple, but these aren't that cut and dry. All right, I think I might cheat here and just go queen takes, and then we'll recalculate if that was right from the new position. But I shouldn't be doing that. I should be working on seeing these all the way out. That's why I do this. Queen to d3. Queen d3 says Qantas. Well, then the queen trades and the rook takes, and I don't know if we gain anything from that either. It's just a queen trade. The reason I like trading the queens on f5 is it removes this pawn, and we're pinning this piece here, which means black at least can't castle. And I'm guessing what I need to do at that point. Oh, I see it. I take, pawn takes, and now I take the knight, so that my knight can come into d5. I guess the point is black either has to take with the pawn or the rook. Let's just, for example, Yeah, it doesn't really matter which way black takes back. So, okay. So we take, and then go knight d5. Nope, just kidding. Queen takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. Let's just say the pawn captures. And then we go knight d5. And the point is the rook can't block because we have knight c7, which will fork. And because the knight also guards c7, the rook can't protect. So then they're going to lose the bishop. So that's it. We have to take here first. Here. And there we go. Okay. So black decided to lose the exchange. Yeah. Yeah, losing the exchange is better than losing a whole piece. So at least you get the, the knight for the rook. And that was something for like the longest time. When I was like 1200, 1400, I would give up a whole piece instead of taking, like if I saw I could lose a rook but recapture a piece, for some reason I would move the rook and just lose a whole piece. And I don't know why. It was so, I don't know. But now I'm like, okay, what's the most material I can get for my piece? If I'm going to lose a piece, if I'm going to lose a rook, what's the most I can get for it? But yeah, for some reason, when I was like 1200, 1400, that's not how I thought. And I don't know why. But chess is hard. Chess is hard. Yeah. I think I'm just setting up a fork here, right? If I just take the queen, the bishop takes, and then I can fork the two pieces. And desperado moves. So anytime you're attacking two pieces, a lot of people think, oh, well, they'll just have to take my pawn and then I'll take back one way or another. But always look for these desperado moves in your calculations, because this knight can jump in here and attack our rook. So we got to make sure that we didn't just hang something. And we can go rook d1 because now the pawn's on f3 blocking the bishop. So then we're attacking that knight again, and we're still attacking this bishop that will be on g4. And so it keeps both pieces attacked. And at that point, black could save the bishop, but then we can take the knight. Or I'm wondering if a better move would be rook f2. And the reason I'm thinking, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Our knight's guarding f3. I was thinking the knight could take on f3, bishop takes f3, but our knight guards that. So then it's just a matter of if I want to play rook d1 or rook f2. After knight d2. It may not even make me play all that out, but these are the important, like, in between moves, desperado moves that you definitely want to look at. Especially if the knight could hop in here and there is no way to attack the knight, and then they can move their bishop away as well. So, okay, just move their knight back that way. Which makes sense too, I guess. The first move that popped in my head was queen takes f7, check. And just for anyone that might be new to chess that's still out there, I'll just show why that doesn't work. Because king d8, and then the knight controls this square, so we can't play checkmates. And then the bishop's guarding these squares. And the rook's covering these squares, so I can't put my queen here. So that was the first move that I looked at just initially. Once I realized that didn't work, then I thought, well, what if I just check back here? And as Quanta says in the chat, queen c8, absolutely, that's it. Because there's no way for black to put a piece here, and then the king can't step up. And there's nothing to capture the queen, so that is the answer. So good job, Qantas. Yeah, queen to c8. If that was your first instinct move, then you're already better than me in that regard. Because yeah, I was looking at queen f7. That's my first instinct. And that's where, like, you're gonna build up as you start to study more and more chess. You'll start to build up these, like, you know, pattern little databases in your brain of ideas. And it's good. Usually your instincts are going to be pretty good, but you also have to back that up with calculation and make sure it works. Because in a bullet game, yeah, I'm probably playing queen takes f7 and then going, oh, crud, I don't have anything. But in a blitz game, okay, I'm probably going to find queen c8 after I look at queen f7, but just a little ideas there. Alright, so something that my first instinct was to take this rook. And it turns out that's a good idea, because after the rook recaptures, the queen can go to a square that attacks both the king and that rook. And it is undefended. And the way I came to this was, I originally looked at rook takes, and then I thought, oh, what do I have? I don't know. And then I thought, well, let's look at some checks. Well, I could check here, I could check here. And then when I looked at this check, I thought, oh, well, I can win this piece. But I can't win it right now because after the bishop attacks my queen, well, I don't have a square to go to. So we have to take her first. And then we could play this move to take the rook. So it's about finding the right move orders as well, which is not always the easiest thing to do. All right, so we're up to 31, and we don't have any wrong so far. So this is good news for us if we want to beat our 38. If we're beating the 38 record that we have. So I'm thinking on Saturdays, when I do my streams on Saturdays at 10, if we get enough people in our chess club, or in my chess club, you guys know what I mean. Would you like a rapid tournament? I think a lot of people playing a little bit longer time controls. Yeah, so feel free to join the club, and then yeah, if we get enough people, enough interest, then we'll do some rapid tournaments on the Saturday streams. Otherwise, Saturday streams will just be very similar to this. But if a lot of you wanted to get some actual practice playing, I might even play in the rapid tournament, so have a chance to play against me. I used to play on stream, but yeah, I find I just don't play as good. I mean, I don't play that good anyway, but when I'm playing on stream, trying to keep up with chat and stuff, I definitely don't play as good. So plus, I mean, Okay, no one's gonna come watch me play chess when you have, you know, when you have the strong players out there streaming and playing. So there's no need for me to play. All right. So apparently the theme today is forks, because we're gonna take this retake and then fork the bishop and the rook. So yeah, the theme of today is forks. All right, another fork here. We're gonna take, and then fork. Maybe not. Maybe not. Takes. If we fork, there's this in-between move, which checks. Then after recapture, the bishop could just go back. So maybe not. Oh wait, but I'll still be up material. I'll have 3 pieces, and they will only have 2 pieces. Oh wow, didn't even see this move. Let's not even look at that move. That's a problem. Yeah, that's a big problem. All right, the issue I see, taking here, I'm probably still okay. I mean, I'm still up a piece as long as I'm not getting checkmated. We're probably okay here. All right, so that worked out for us, but that was, yeah, that was not something we wanted to have happen there. Okay, I think we're taking, then checking, coming here, and then checkmating. There we go. All right, 34. Nothing wrong so far. All right, I guess we're doing a check. If the king comes here, we go check, king over. King up. And then we can take the rook. And if rook check, king goes over this way, after check, then they get checkmated back there. So yes. Now, of course, I didn't look at this move because I only calculated coming up this way, and I assumed this and this were the same, but I missed the tucking behind the rook. But I'm guessing just a check here. With rook blocks, we can go this way. Maybe. Yeah, just queen check there. Just queen check. So is anyone in the chat? Is anyone keeping up with the Tata Steel tournament that's going on? Because they'll be playing again today in like almost, what is it? If it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes or so. Yeah, we have a three-way tie for first in Tata Steel. Anish Giri, Fabiano, and Ali Reza all tied for first with 6 points out of 9. Yeah, I think chess.com did like a fantasy, or you could pick like 3 players. They're all worth like a different amount of money, so you couldn't go over like $100. I think it's similar to kind of like some of the like FanDuel things with like for us like the football players, NFL players, where they're worth a certain amount of money and you can have them on your team. But yeah, you couldn't go over $100, like fake $100, not real $100 with your team. So I picked Anish Giri, who's leading right now. Van Forest, I can't say his last name. Forest, who has 5.5. But then I also picked MVL, and he's not doing very well. He's only got 3 points, so. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, Tata Steel's a pretty good tournament going on right now. If you're not, especially if you're new to chess, you don't have that much information on different tournaments and stuff. Definitely recommend checking it out. It's a big tournament that happens. All right, I feel like I'm checkmating here. I feel like there's a checkmating net. All right, if I check here, the king only has 2 squares. With the queen blocks, that's just bad. Because we get bishop g5 if the queen blocks. All right, so this is my first candidate move. Can the pawn block though? Looks like it might be a problem. Yeah, the only thing I don't like about this move is that the king is going to be able to get to d7. And I feel like once they're on d7, I don't really have anything left. Because this bishop's going to really cover any squares. Right, so let's go back to this line here. Oh, maybe it's just I can play here, and then I win the bishop. All right, so the king goes to f5, but then we have queen g5 is checkmate. Okay. Oh yeah, you can't go there. All right, the only piece guarding the g7 square is that bishop. So if I eliminate the bishop, yeah, I think it's got to be with the rook. Because then the rook's going to guard. And then I can take. When the pawn takes, then the rook needs to be able to take. And if I take with the pawn, I won't be able, I don't have that checkmate. And the king can't go to any of those squares. What? That was wrong? All right, I'll have to go look at that one. Oh, maybe it was wrong because the queen came back and does a check and guards h6. c1, d2, c1, d2, e3, f4, g5, h6. So queen c1 check. Queen c1 check. The king moves to h2. And then the queen could go to... But the queen went to g5. Oh, right. If the queen then gets to g5, then it guards to g7. All right, that was interesting. I'll have to go back and look at that one after this. All right, by going here, I'm starting to set up a mating net for this king. So the rook will move. I can escape. And I don't see a way for the king to get out of the mating net. Oh, wait, here, check, king here, and now that pawn moves. And the king gets this square. Okay. And then if the pawn pushes, then we can step our king here. Perfect. All right, our opponent's about to promote with check. And then checkmate. So whatever we're about to do, it has got to be with checks. All right, rook f3, knight takes f3, queen, queen e3 check, king g2, all right, queen takes e4, because now the knight's on f3. Queen takes f6, threatening checkmates several different ways, by promoting, by queen f8, by rook h8. So there's lots of checkmate ideas here. So we would have rook a2 check. Okay, so we would have mate at that point. So rook f3, knight takes f3, queen e3 check. Okay, and otherwise I think we just get like a perpetual kind of thing going on. All right, so this looks, no, that wasn't right. Okay. Well, fine. Check and the queen blocks. And it doesn't do anything, does it? I guess we could win this pawn. Well, that's not right either. Wow. All right. 37. Let's go look at these that I got wrong. And see if we can learn something from the ones we got wrong. All right. So white's move, and I said after bishop takes, rook takes was my move. I can't draw arrows on this. But then yeah, after queen c1, I thought queen g5, but it's pawn takes. So why? Why is this wrong? Rook takes f6 is not the right move. Is it pawn takes f6? Pawn takes f6. What? Okay, I'm just really confused why rook takes f6 would not work. All right, we're gonna have to bring out the big guns here, chat, because I don't know why rook takes f6 doesn't work. The queen checks. Okay, king up here. So then I was just gonna take. Oh snap! That's why. Queen takes e5 is with check in that line, and we can't take the queen. Okay, that makes sense now. The king would be on h2, so queen, yeah. Okay, so that's good to know. Now this one. I also got this one wrong. All right, chat, we're almost done with the tactics training. I'm just looking at some of the ones that I got wrong. Because I don't know why I got them wrong. Okay, this one, yeah, I just wasn't sure. I mean, everything's got to be a check, so I don't see any other checks, though. I mean, okay, I see some other checks, but I didn't think those were. I think those are right. What's the answer to this one? Oh, snap. Yep. Missed that one. Yeah, I just missed that idea. Okay, and then this last one that I got wrong. Let's see. All right, so what I was going for was queen f2 check, queen g2, and then queen d4. And I was just thinking rook e2, but I missed rook e4 in that line. So queen f1. Oh, queen f1. And yeah, there's no way to stop the rook f2. Okay. Queen f1, there's no way to stop. No way to stop it all, chat. All right. Good stuff. All right, so now what we're gonna do is look at a game between, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce this person's name. All right, we're gonna do a game analysis. So this is gonna be a game between Stein and, well, you'll see the name when I put it in here because I don't even know how to pronounce this name. I do not want to mess it up at all. All right, you turn off the evaluation and the engine. We don't care about that. All right, we're just going to flip the board, so we're looking at it from Stein's perspective, since he's our hero. All right, so Stein was invited to the 1955 Armed Forces Championship, where the Russian Federation champion Anatoly Lukatov was one of his rivals. Stein lost their individual encounter, but nevertheless finished in joint first place with Lukatov on 13.5 out of 18. He then won the deciding match for the champion's title by the convincing 3.5 to 1.5 score. Unfortunately, none of those games are available, so here's a different one. a characteristic example of how Stein played at this time. His opponent, we'll just name him Victor. Victor was alive from 1918 to 1982 and was a strong Russian master with a peak estimated rating of 2549 and ranked 68th in the world in 1945. And this game was played in 1955 in Moscow. All right, so it started out as a Ruy Lopez. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5. Okay. All right, so I have a bunch of new viewers, it looks like. Not sure where you guys are watching from, but if you're on Twitch, welcome. If you're not on Twitch, welcome to wherever you are watching from. And this is Chess Nerdbird. So I've been playing chess since 2011, tournament chess, and trying to reach, experts, or at least a 2000 rating. Maybe even would try to reach National Master if it works out in the future, but for sure trying to go for at least a 2000 rating. But anyway, every morning, Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. Eastern time, I stream what I do in the mornings to try and stay sharp at chess. One thing is tactics. So for an hour, I do tactics on Puzzle Rush survival mode, and then I do a game analysis with the chat. So this month, so for January, we'll be looking at games from Stein. Next month, we'll pick a different player to look at their games, and we'll go from there. If you're new to chess, definitely welcome. No rating is required. Just if you want to play chess and have fun and hang out in the chat, that's all we look for. But yeah, all ratings welcome. So hi, Paul. Welcome to the stream. If it's your first time, feel free to say hi and introduce yourself. And so Ruy Lopez, and then Stein played f5. All right. So the question here is, what is the name of this variation and what are the main ideas? All right. So the Russian master Karl Frederick Janisch, I'd probably screw that name up, professor of mechanics at the Railway Institute, analyzed this counterattack and presented his analysis in the magazine. You're just looking for chess streams and discovered mine. Oh, awesome. Well, thanks. Well, welcome. Yeah, this is if you like monotone, no music, and just training, chess tactics, and game analysis, then you're at the right place. Yeah, I try not to do music. I've done music before, but I mean, there's the whole music stuff going on, and just I find if people want music, they may not like what I'm listening to anyway, and you can just listen to whatever you want. So, but that's neither here nor there. But just a reason why I don't. All right, so he presented this counterattack in his analysis in the magazine Polemik in 1847. And around 20 years later, the German lawyer Adolf Schliemann recommended a similar way of playing. This is illogical in the sense that White has already developed his light squared bishop to b5 rather than to c4. It was played regularly by the Bulgarian Grandmaster Inkaliv, and more recently has featured in the repertoire of world-class Grandmaster Radjabov. And one can compare this with Fyodor's, which may be regarded as a starting point of modern opening theory. The main idea in both variations is to exchange the black f-pawn for the white e-pawn and obtain a central majority of 2 pawns versus 1. So this is the idea. Trade these 2 pawns off so that you have 2 versus 1 in the center. Another benefit is the half-open f-file, which will help to help to activate the king's rook. This method is not without venom and shows that the French chess player and composer Philidor understood the essentials of fundamental opening strategy and certainly was way ahead of his time. Alright, obviously the point is that you're weakening your king side by playing this f5. But the long-term plan, as long as you don't get checkmated, is that you have 2 versus 1 in the center, which is usually a pretty good thing. Now, the best reply, and what was played in the game, is knight c3. Alright, so now the normal continuation now is f takes e4, knight takes e4, and then knight f6, or d5. Alright, but here Stein played knight f6. And the problem with this move is that white can answer with e takes f5. And yeah, you just don't want white to ever take this pawn and kind of put this bind on your position where, I mean, okay, you can play moves like this, but yeah, you just don't want white to take. You want to be able to take. So anyway, white did not do that in this game. Instead, white took on bishop takes c6, and after b takes, it's just capturing toward the center. Capturing with the d pawn is also okay here, and giving this bishop way to get developed, but Stein decided to capture towards the center, which is fine. Queen e2. I guess the problem here now is if white accepts the gambits, then black's gonna hit with e4, queen e2, queen e7, knight h4, and then a5. And the point is we're gonna go for bishop a6, and black has pretty good compensation here. All right, so now d5. That's a little bit too aggressive, but this was Stein's way to play him. Was a very aggressive attacking chess. Stein also did not take a lot of time to play his moves. He played moves very, very quickly, which might be okay for him, but would not be okay for us. So, all right, so now white takes. Right, and instead of taking back, right, we gotta guard this pawn. Right, bishop d6. Now knight takes e5, and castles. And we're not really guarding that pawn per se. We just want to be able to get the castle in. All right, and then knight takes e6 was white's try here. Now this is too greedy. It was better to complete development with castling. And then after rook e8, then just protect the knight with d4. All right, so after this, queen d7. Don't want to give up our queen for a knight. Queen takes e6. Now king h8. Right, white decided to capture the trade queens here, and then play knight d4. Okay, so rook a to e8 check, king to f1, and now c5. Knight d6. So white's got a knight on the outpost, but all right, so white has to give a pawn back, but wants black to give up one of their bishops. So is black forced to comply with this? So should you give up the bishop pair just to get the pawn back? And the answer is yes here. And the reason for this is that you want to be able to open up new avenues for a direct assault on white's position with black's remaining active pieces. So takes. And now how should black continue? Yes, it's more a matter of taste. We could just take back right away. But Stein actually played knight g4. Do I need to win here and then here? So f3. Rook takes e6. We can leave the pawn attacking the knight because it's pinned, so we can't actually move the pawn yet. So this is fine. So now knight takes d5. And now knight takes h2. And if white captures back, our bishop will be regaining the piece there. And white goes for this. And d3. All right. All right, so what is wrong with white's move here? Well, the problem is you just weaken this e3 square. It no longer has support from a pawn. And so black is going to just start this mating net here. And after bishop d2, rook f5. Knight going into c3. And the knight doesn't want to go to e3 now. Because after this move, well, it's getting a little dicey. You can go knight c4. Then after rook h5, king g1, rook e2. Now, things are just starting to get really bad for white. Because these rooks are just on the 7th rank, and that is not what you want. Okay, you can guard this, but now after h5, black has broken through. All right, so knight c3. So that's why knight c3 instead of knight e3. Okay, but Stein still goes for this idea. Rook h5 after king g1. How should black continue from here? Well, black's going to use this very nice e5 square as a pivot for a beautiful and decisive maneuver. So we're going to go bishop e5. White tries to hold off with g4, rook h3, and knight e4. And now rook takes f3, king g2, simply moving back rook f8, rook h1. All right, they're saying that white's best defense was to take on c5, forcing black to decide where to go for whether to go for the g pawn or c pawn with this rook. So either going here or going here. Okay, but instead white played rook h1, and now after rook g6, you could also just go ahead and take on b2, that's fine, but rook g6, now g5, guarding the pawn, and now bishop takes b2. All right, white finally plays this knight takes c5 idea, but after rook c8, rook b1, bishop a3, Bishop e3, I guess, trying to guard the knight there. All right, best continuation here. Stein actually missed this, which is probably not surprising, just because he plays so fast. But Stein played king g8. However, the most decisive is bishop takes c5. Bishop takes, and now rook takes g5 check. Followed by rook takes c5. Okay, you can't take with this rook because, well, you'll get checkmated. So instead, yeah, Stein played king g8 after d4. Stein played rook b6. Wait, goes rook f8 or f1. Sorry. Now rook b2. Rook f2, and then rook takes a2. All right, remember that the foundation for this maneuver with the rook was the preliminary bishop takes b2, which split white's pawns and rendered moves like b2 to b3 non-existent. So that's the whole reason why this rook could swing back over, come down here, and then take this a2 pawn. All right, so rook d2. And now bishop c1, and white resigned. All right, so a reasonably good game showing Stein's willingness to sacrifice material for activity already when he was a young player. This was a trait he kept all his life, though he naturally developed other aspects of the game, such as playing quiet positional chess. Remember the early important advice he got from Shakarov. All right, since we finished that one pretty quickly, let's just go ahead and look at another game by Stein. Okay, in this one, Stein will have the white pieces. And he's playing against Yuchman, if that's how you pronounce it. Yuchman was a very strong player, ranked 41st in the world with an estimated rating of 2622 in 1960, according to Chess Metrics. Though he had no international title, his most famous game is when he beat Tall in a Gordon Gambit in the USSR Championship in 1959. He's a very good blitz player who gave the 1 minute versus 5 minute odds even against grandmasters. So wow. Yeah, if you're giving 1 minute to 5 minute odds against a grandmaster, then you must be, yeah, you got to be something, huh? All right. So white played e4. So this was a modern opening. So e4, g6, d4, bishop g7, knight c3, d6. Okay, f4. So this is how I like to attack the modern opening as well. All right, and now Stein went bishop e2. It seems Stein does not want to allow the pin after knight f3 and bishop g4. Although it is a perfectly viable variation for white. Okay, black goes queen b6. Now e5. So yeah, typically in the modern, if you can get e5 in as white, then you're probably doing pretty good. I actually had a game against 1900, almost like a 2000 rated player who played a very similar setup. Just their queen had come out to a5. They did this whole knight maneuver, put a bishop here, had this b5 here. Yeah, it was I ended up sacking a bishop on e7. I had my bishop here and actually sacked it on e7 to prevent the king from castling. And yeah, very, very beautiful attacking game. Ended up winning that one. Sacrificed a lot of pieces. Didn't take any of my opponent's pieces and checkmated them. So that was a nice game. Alright, so after knight a6, exploiting the weak f5 square with knight h6 is more logical. This is the price white has to pay for an early e4, e5. What is this? So you're saying knight h6 would have probably been better here. Hey, thanks for the follow. And welcome. For those new to the stream, we are doing tactics training every weekday at 5 a.m. Eastern time. And then doing a game analysis afterwards. We finished the first game pretty early, so I'm just going through a second game. So welcome to anyone new to the stream, and thanks so much for any follows coming through. All right, so a3. Hey, thanks for the follow. All right, so now d takes e5. All right, again, black could have gone with knight h6, very natural. F takes e5. All right, so now the bishop on c1 controls this diagonal, this whole diagonal. Doesn't just stop there. So if instead white had played pawn takes, well now we don't control as much. So with this, so we want to keep open up our pieces so they have more scope. All right, now black plays f6, attacking the pawn center before white has completed development. Okay, but we just go knight f3. And now bishop g4 comes in. All right, so now the pressure on the e5 pawn is now very strong. What should white do? Okay, and the pressure is strong because black wants to take this and then be able to take and win a pawn. So black's idea is to remove this defender. Okay. If we take here, then black just takes back with the knight and we help black develop their pieces, which is not something we want to do. Typically, it's not something we want to do. Right, so Stein played knight a4. Okay, now after queen a5, you may think, oh, we're just going to move back. And we lost a piece. But Stein plays bishop d2. And why can Stein play and give up this knight? Because after queen takes a4, b3, and the queen's trapped. Any square the queen can move to is covered by a piece. So we're not actually losing the piece in that line. Okay, so after bishop d2, black went queen d5. And now c4. Very aggressive, but not the best. Okay, because now this knight is in a questionable position. So the best continuation actually would be to just go knight c3. And after something like queen d7, bishop takes a6, b takes a6, then h3, and white's just doing, white's doing fine here. All right, so c4 is aggressive. That's probably more of a move I would play for sure. Queen d7, now bishop c3, just adding more protection to the e5 pawn. course, you could also argue bishop f4. Controlling the center. Looks at least more logical. All right, knight h6. Queen b3. Pawn takes. Pawn takes. Lots of trades happening. Black castle's queenside. White castle's kingside. And now queen e6. Acting as a blockader to this pawn. And now queen c2 is probably the best move here, but Stein played king h1. And it says this prophylactic move is too passive. There's actually no reason to move the king to the corner since there are no immediate threats on this diagonal. Yeah, I mean, there's really just nothing there. So there's no reason to put your king in, no reason to put the king in the corner. Okay. So the book says actually queen c2 is actually a good move, and it sets up a trap. If queen takes c4, we have bishop e2. And black's position is going to collapse after bishop takes a6, which is weakening the king side, which is where they just castled, or the queen side, which is where they just castled their king. So okay, but instead we went king h1, and then black plays knight f5, and now queen c2 comes in. One move too late. Chess is about timing, as Bobby Fischer used to say. But now there's knight d4, queen e4, queen g4 check, king b8. Now rook a to e1, queen c7. So white's pieces are doing pretty good in the game. This knight just looks so strange here. All right, so bishop e4, bishop f6, and now b4. Trying to get something going over here. So the pawn deficit is not of great issue in this type of position. So white, remember, is down a pawn right now. But that's not a huge problem in this position because the initiative is the most important factor. White's queenside and pawn storm looks more dangerous than black's ideas of g6 to g5 and h7, h5. Because this is coming pretty quickly. All right, so queen d7. Of course, white's not going to trade here. It's going to play check. Queen c7. And this may have been a silent draw offer, but only gives Stein the psychological advantage. Alright, so queen d3. Queen e3, sorry. Queen d7. Alright, h3. Knight f5. What is the problem with black's move? Well, the problem with black's move here, especially this knight f5, is white's going to take, and then your pawn structure that you're going to use to attack white's king is now broken. Completely shattered. Black's not going to get an attack with the pawns on that. All right, so now queen f4 check, knight c7. And finally, the white knight returns to the game with knight c5. All right, so queen d2. We're going rook e7. All right, now after queen takes f4. Oh, hold on, guys. Just gonna say good morning to my kid, and then I'll be right back. All right, so we had queen takes f4, right? So we just did a queen trade. And now king c8. Avoiding the knight check on d7. Now rook takes f5. Rook d1 check, king h2, rook d2. Now knight e4. Attacking the rook. Rook a2, and now knight d6. King b8 and rook g7. Rook g7 prevents black from putting his rook on g8 and going after the g2 pawn. All right, now knight e6. And now it is mate in 6. If the chat wants to try and take their shot at figuring this out, it is mate in 6 from here. Give you just a few seconds to look at that. All right, and here we go. Rook takes b7. King a8. Now rook a5. Black only has a few spike checks, so it is better to resign. And that is coming with checkmate. So if we go back through this game real quick, just looking at some of the key moments here. Okay, white probably played e5 a little bit too early here, because again it just weakens this f5 square and allows white or black to kind of come after this square with knight h6. But instead black goes for knight a6, a3 just stopping that knight from coming to b4. Trading in the center and attacking with f6. All logical moves here, but this knight a4 idea, very strong, attacking the queen. And after queen a5 check, bishop d2, black can't take the knight because it's going to get trapped. c4, a little bit too aggressive, just knight c3 here. Just bringing the piece back into the game. Bishop f4 here was probably more logical. Okay, all fine here. All right, yeah, this king h1 move, just queen c2. Don't trade queens, you're trying to get an attack going. And then this move just allows white to completely destroy black's pawns. And so there's never going to be an attack on the white king, not with the pawns at least. And usually you want to use pawns to rip open the king side. So now I think this is why white's fine with doing a queen trade. It's because the pawns are weak, and so we can go into this endgame. And then white is pretty sure they're going to be fine here, getting some pawns back. And then, yeah, just knight e6 was such a Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm guessing the opponent had to be, black had to be in time trouble here because, I mean, it's just, I mean, it's just so obvious. Why would you, I mean, not that black has much else going on, but yeah, allowing the check and forcing the king into the corners can't be good. So. All right. Well, that is the stream, everyone. We can go through another game if you want. Otherwise, we'll call it a day. We will call it a day. Now we can go raid. We can go raid someone. Thanks again to everyone for the follows. We will be live again tomorrow morning at are there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, we'll be live again tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Eastern time, doing our tactics training and looking at some more Stein games. Every morning, 5 a.m. Monday through Friday. Our schedule is down below, but make sure you click the follow button so you get alerts when we go live. Well, right now we're gonna go raid International Master Mark Esserman, who's very good. So make sure you guys join that raid, and we'll go. Make sure you go give him some love and some shout outs. And we'll see you all on the next stream. Thanks again, everyone.